Two boys are born 11 days apart, in hospitals 8 miles apart, in the same city. One of them will grow up counting quarters for the laundromat. The other will grow up not knowing what a laundromat is. Neither of them chose it. This is the story of both. $0, ages 0 to 10. His name doesn't matter yet, because at this age, nothing about his life has been decided by him. Only by the apartment his parents could afford, the school district that came with it, and the version of normal that gets set before a kid is old enough to know there's any other kind. Breakfast is whatever's cheapest and fills you up, generic cereal, sometimes just toast. His mother works 2 jobs, and quality time mostly happens in the 15 minutes between one shift ending and the next one starting, at a kitchen table with peeling laminate. He learns early, without anyone explaining it to him directly, that money is the thing adults whisper about after he's supposed to be asleep. At school, some kids bring lunch in insulated bags with their names monogrammed on them. He brings lunch in a plastic grocery bag, folded and reused from the day before, because a new one costs money, and this one still works fine. $100 million, ages 0 to 10. 11 days younger, across town, a different boy is born into a house with a name, not a street address exactly, an actual name, the kind estates get. His trust fund is established before he's out of the hospital, a document with more zeros than most adults will see in a lifetime of paychecks, managed by people whose entire job is making sure his money grows faster than he does. His breakfast is prepared by staff. His mother is present, technically, but often distracted. A phone call about a board meeting, a call with the property manager about the Aspen house. Quality time happens on a schedule, printed and laminated by an assistant, 30 minutes on Tuesdays and Thursdays, because that's what fits. At school, a private one. Obviously, nobody brings lunch in a grocery bag. He doesn't know that's a thing that happens to other kids. He doesn't know much about other kids at all yet. $0, ages 10 to 18. By middle school, he understands the math of his life without ever being taught it formally. New shoes mean an old one goes unmet somewhere else. He gets his first job at 14, technically too young, cash under the table, sweeping a barbershop floor for a few dollars an hour that mostly goes straight back into the household. Because that's what you do when your mom is working herself into the ground and you're old enough to notice. He's smart. Genuinely, unmistakably smart. But smart doesn't automatically translate into opportunity when there's no money for tutoring, no time for extracurriculars that require a car nobody has, no family friend who happens to run a company and can get him an internship with one phone call. He applies to colleges anyway, the ones he can afford, the ones with financial aid packages generous enough to make the math work. He gets in. He also gets a part-time job to start on day 1, because acceptance letters don't pay rent. $100 million, ages 10 to 18. The other boy's teenage years look different in almost every measurable way. Private tutors for every subject. A personal trainer by 14. A gap year, internship secured not through merit, but through a single phone call his father made to an old business partner. He doesn't apply to colleges so much as choose among the ones that have already, unofficially, made it clear he'd be welcome. A building on campus with his family's name on it tends to smooth that process considerably. The convergence. Here's where it gets complicated, and where most stories like this one get it wrong by picking a side. Neither life is simply better. The $0 boy carries real scars. The anxiety of scarcity doesn't fully leave you just because your bank account eventually stabilizes. He flinches at unexpected expenses years after he can actually afford them. The $100 million boy carries different scars, the quiet terror of never knowing if he's loved for himself, the atrophy of ambition that comes from never truly needing to try. They meet, eventually, at a mutual friend's wedding, an accident of overlapping social circles neither could have predicted at 10 years old. They talk for 20 minutes by the bar, and for reasons neither fully understands. It's the most honest conversation either of them has had in months. The $0 boy admits, quietly, that money problems still wake him up some nights, even though he technically doesn't have them anymore. The $100 million boy admits, even more quietly, that he'd trade a piece of the fortune for one memory of his father showing up somewhere unscheduled, unannounced, just because he wanted to. Closing/moral. Money, it turns out, doesn't create the story. It just decides which problems you get. The boy with $0 spent his childhood learning what he lacked. The boy with $100 million spent his learning what money couldn't buy him, no matter how much of it there was. Both of them, in their own ways, spent years reaching for the same exact thing. Proof that they mattered to someone for reasons that had nothing to do with a number. If you grew up on either side of that line, or somewhere in the wide, complicated middle most of us actually live in, you already know the real wealth was never just the number in the account. Drop a heart if you get it, and subscribe for more real stories about the lives you never see coming.